Yeah, so just by way of introduction, some of you may know me as Phil from the Aussie KTM 790, 890, Norden 901 forum, and my main man Chris Topher here has been the most consistent group expert for the whole, what has it been, 6 years now?
Something like that, yeah, since 790 days.
Yeah,
wow.
And all-round legend. Both of us have had two bikes, a 790 each, which I did 35,000 hard Ks on mine. You
41, 42.
And as Chris said, I've just clicked over 50,000 Ks on the 890 Rally. So this bike here is originally from Melbourne. It's been ridden halfway around Australia. It's gone from the Vic High Country right up to the most northern part of Australia, Cape York. We've done Central Highlands together, Fraser Island. I recently did the ADV R Rally, the Sapphire Coast with KTM, which was just awesome. We did the Simpson Desert earlier this year. This bike's been in South Australia, in Aminka. And just by way of credentials, let me say two things. Both of us are just regular guys. These bikes, we pay full price like all you guys. There's no sponsorships, so we've got no incentive to say anything than our own experience. And I don't know about Chris, but from my point of view, in my life, I've done probably, I think, about 500,000 adventure kilometers halfway around the world, not entirely around the world. And in that time, I've ridden Kawasaki's, BMWs for probably a good 100,000 kilometers, KTMs, Yamaha, and I'm not one of those guys who has to have everybody around them riding the same bike. I just love riding, and all power to anybody who is on a bike that they enjoy. So that's the starting foundation. But I have to say, particularly right now, there's a whole bunch of stuff.
Yep.
A bunch of noise, a bunch of people bitching about KTM with the financial situation, talking about problems with the bike, talking about dealer issues. And I think for me, there's three criteria that make the holy trinity of an adventure bike. So let's tackle the first one, reliability. In all the bikes that I've owned, and all the guys that I know that have bikes, all bikes have problems. Dealer service is probably another big one. And you know, I've seen a lot of idiots come into dealers, KTM dealers, with an attitude, giving everybody a hard time, thinking the world owes them something. But in my experience, dealers are people like us. And if you treat them with respect, they treat you with respect, generally. And I have to say, I've been to many KTM dealers in Australia, from Peter Stevens to Bolton's to Fraser's to Motorcycles R Us today, who did this work for me today. Big shout out to Motorcycles R Us, they've done a fantastic job, thank you. Ultimate Motorcycles in bigger waters. Team Moto, those guys have an incredibly good mechanic team. Service manager there is a legend, so you know, big shout out to those guys. I've been right up to, what is it, Performance something in Cairns.
Yep.
MPE in central Queensland. And I've never had a problem with any dealer. In fact, I would go as far as saying the KTM dealer network that I know is as good as, if not better than, any other brand of bike. Let's address, whilst we're talking about reliability, this cam issue.
Yep.
So as the admin of the 790, 890 forum, I hear a lot of guys making a lot of noise on social media about this issue, but Chris actually has published detailed information about the incidence of this problem, the actual statistics of this problem occurring. So we've all heard everybody whinging about it on their social channels or on their YouTube channels, but the actual number of bikes that have this problem is actually only how much?
0.2%.
0.2 of 1%.
Yeah.
So for all of that noise, all of that palaver, all of these people saying, oh my God, go and get a T7 because you can't trust the KTM. I mean, 0.2 of 1% bikes actually have this problem.
Yeah, in fact, Motorcycles R Us, who are one of the top dealers around, hadn't actually had a bike have that problem.
In all the bikes they've sold in 5 years.
Yeah. So, you know, and I think some of it is because of prep. You know, some of the dealers right at the start didn't put in the right filters, the air filters, but if you have a dealer who does the right thing, I think then you do your maintenance and they give you the schedule for the air filters. I do the oil change in between myself. I don't take it in at the 7,500 Ks, but Motorcycles R Us set the service at 7,500 Ks to tell you that's when it needs an oil change, and every second time you take it to the dealer and they do the 15,000. So, the people who are doing the maintenance get the reliability out of the bikes.
And those few guys that have actually had problems, despite the fact they've been looking after the bike properly, in the early days there wasn't a lot of parts in the country, and some of the guys that I know actually had to wait a bit of time, and fair enough, that's frustrating. But every dealer I know, all the ones I've just listed, now carry these parts in stock and will warranty it. So if you've looked after the bike, boom, it's fixed, no issue. So there's no reason to choose a less exciting bike out of some misplaced sense of conservatism, in my opinion.
Well, the Africa Twin, which I had before, and the T7 have just had recalls. The BMWs have just got a recall where they're recalling and replacing the drive shaft on every single adventure bike in their current lineup. Things happen. We're not saying that it is not an issue. It is an issue for a small number of riders, and I do know that they also have a look up and see what your intake tract is like, see whether that's clean. Phil runs a different option than I do. I run the power plate. Phil runs the full Rottweiler box. We've both got aftermarket exhausts come on the Rally, and if you do just those two things, maintain your air filter, and you've got an exhaust with a little bit of something going on, then the bikes are reliable, they don't give you drama, and 45,000 Ks, 50,000 Ks, two happy guys.
So to come back to the Holy Trinity, dealer service, tick. Reliability, tick. The final, third part of the Holy Trinity trilogy is thrilling ride. Whether you look at it on paper, this thing that came out, when was the first 790s came out? 2019?
19, yep.
So 6 years ago now, and still to this day, on paper, there is nothing that comes close.
Well, if you like adventure riding, how we like adventure riding. If you want to ride around Australia with your girlfriend on the back and take the kitchen sink, then I would say that there are better bikes for that.
Oh, I've got a good way of describing this.
Yeah.
Can you hold this one for a second? Just imagine I'm drawing on a whiteboard. So you have the capability index on the vertical axis and the versatility index on the horizontal axis.
Yep.
Right? So to your point, a BMW is a great touring bike, but you can't do hard enduro on it. You can ride it off-road, and in fact, I know some guys who ride that bike extremely well.
Yep.
I wouldn't say it's a hard enduro bike,
no.
But just for the sake of putting perspective into this matrix, let's throw an EXC out there, right? So an EXC, you can do hard enduro. You can register an EXC, but you can ride it down the street, but you're not going to go touring on it, right?
No.
So let's say the EXC is really high up on the capability index, but really low on the versatility index. A BMW, probably more versatile, but nowhere near as capable.
Yep.
So maybe mid this way, but down the bottom here.
Yep.
Just to illustrate the difference, I'm going to throw a 701 in here. This is my own personal opinion. As an ex-701 owner, right, in my experience, a 701 is slightly more capable, only slightly more capable than the 890, but way less versatile.
Yeah.
So for me, that likes one bike and I can ride, I'm not saying I'm going to do hard enduro, but we've done some snotty stuff.
Oh yeah.
We've done some stuff that really you should be on a dirt bike to do. And if you know how to ride, you can do that on the 890. But by the same token, you get out of the bush, you get on the road, and you can cruise. I've ridden this bike from the bottom of Australia to the top of Australia.
Yep.
So in terms of versatility versus capability, there is nothing out there that comes close to this bike, in my humble opinion. And so when you complete the Holy Trilogy, this bike is on its own. Still, after 6 years, there is nothing that comes close.
Let's say that a 450 Rally is 10 out of 10. Then I would say
capability.
On capability.
Not necessarily.
No, not versatile. You don't necessarily put your luggage on and go do a Cape York trip or something on one. I guess you could. Then I would say that these are a solid 8.5 out of 10. Reliability, like all I do is make sure that my air filter, which I carry a spare tucked in the tail, is clean, and it's absolutely reliable. I might use 100 mils of oil in a 6,000k Flinders trip. Nothing. So I would give
dealer service.
Yeah.
You can get dealers all over the country.
Dealer
They've
service.
looked after me everywhere, as long as you treat them like human beings that deserve respect, like you.
I've pretty much only ever been to Motorcycles R Us, to be fair. I haven't had to go to anyone else for anything else.
I've been all over Australia, and everybody's looked after me. And I don't go in there announcing who I am. I just walk in and say, I'm Phil. I want to. Can I organise a service? Can I get tyres? Can I get change sprocket? Can I get brake pads? And so look, in summary, I think dealer service, you've got dealers everywhere, and the dealer service is really great. I have to say, it's been awesome in my experience.
Yep.
Reliability, I've ridden all kinds of bikes, I've had all kinds of issues. This bike is as bulletproof as any, if not better. But the real standout is this capability versatility index, making it still, to this day, the best, in my opinion. And all power to anybody who enjoys their bike. I don't care what bike you ride, as long as you're enjoying it. But from my point of view, this is hands down the most versatile, most capable adventure bike on the market, still to this day.
I agree. I mean, this puts a smile on my face every single time I ride it, and that alone is worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, mate, here we are, January 2025, with a full year ahead of us. After 2024 was an awesome year for adventure riding for me.
We did some good ones.
Did some great trips, plus I did the Flinders.
Yep.
And so this year I'm kicking off with Tasmania. I'd love to do another trip which I'm going to let you intro. And then we've got the KTM rallies an option in Bunbury in October. And I've got my mates in Europe talking about doing a Kyrgyzstan trip, which I'm not sure if I can fit it all in at this point. But there is one trip above all else that I'm very much looking forward to do, which I think maybe we might end up doing together.
Which one?
Simpson.
The Simpson. Well, if someone could put together a decent support truck.
That's what we need. We need a great support truck. What would be the ultimate truck?
A Unimog.
A Unimog?
Unimog.
And with what accessories on it? You'd want a heap of fuel, a heap of water. You'd want some kind of system that you could lift the bikes on and off the truck.
Those who've been on my channel, stay tuned. Alrighty.
Well, mate, it's been a great year, 2024. I'm looking forward to another awesome year, 2025.
Agreed.
Bring it on.
Cheers.
All right.
Okay, mate.